a lot of people doing the wrong things at the moment.
What would be the top products you'd recommend if someone was going to invest in something? What are the key skincare products that you should start using?
Start going for. So for me, I work kind of on a deeper level when it comes to skin. So I like more the medical grade products. So things like your Lumiere MD, your Abage, your Original, things like that. My favourite is a Lumiere because it's clean science as well. And then another brand that I like to work with is Dermavigils, and that works more on kind of correcting surface issues of the skin. So using something like The Ordinary, I'm not going to sit here and slate any products, even though I'm finding it really hard not to. But, you know, the buzzwords that you said, like your retinol, your hyaluronic acid, your vitamin C, they're great ingredients, but if they're not in the right, say, molecular structure, they're not entering the skin to the level they need, and they're not really having the change that we need. So you might be working literally on the surface, but not where it needs to be. So it's not bad. It gets people using these ingredients, but actually you as a consumer need to have an understanding of what that is actually doing, because vitamin C is great, but do you know why you're using it?
I don't know why I'm using any of it apart from the SPF. I don't even know why any of it does.
So it's like, we all need vitamin C. Realistically, we need vitamin C to make collagen. So now everyone's going to come and buy vitamin C. But if you haven't got the right strengths, you need, and if I'm boring, you tell me to shut up, but if you need L-ascorbic acid and you need 15%, if you haven't got that, there's practically no point. So it's having a bit of a better understanding of what those ingredients are and what they're actually doing on the skin. So it's not wrong what you're doing. I'm not saying that at all. But, you know, it's why are you using it?
Yeah, it's better than a baby wipe. I've made one step.
Much better than a baby wipe. Much better. That makes me cringe. But, you know, equally, now is the time that people actually have time to spend on their skin, because most people will wake up in the morning, put their makeup straight on, go to work all day, and then come home. And then if they even bother to take their makeup off, it's right at the end of the day. So no one really sees their skin. So it's a really good time to really focus on, you know, a good routine, one that works for you as an individual, and not something you've seen maybe your friends use or something like that.
So how's the best way to find something that will work for you then? Is it best to speak to someone like yourself, or to kind of try different products to have a look at your own skin, to try and analyze yourself?
To be frank, if you've got, well, you need to really have a consultation with a skin therapist, and there's so many that are happening online at the moment. Don't be fooled into just buying product. You know, your skin is an organ, it's the largest organ of the body, and it's got a job to do. And a lot of the time, products that we're choosing, because it's marketed that way, is actually hindering that function. So sometimes you actually don't need much, sometimes people need more. So it's, you know, it's a bit of a minefield, but when you have an understanding on your skin, then you're going to have amazing results. But I guess one thing that I would sort of like to say is a lot of people go to the exfoliant, that's their product, when they've got skin issues. You know, they'll look in the mirror and they'll go, God, my skin's grey, it's dull, it's, you know, whatever, I'll exfoliate. In the long term, that's going to make it much, much worse, because if you've got skin that's like on the deeper level that's not doing what it's supposed to do, and you're exfoliating off the top, it's just going to bring those damaged cells up quicker. So you have like a week or a couple of days of gorgeous glowing skin, and then it's right back to where it was. So don't just reach for the exfoliant. If you need help or advice, then just contact one of us.
What about, we had a few people, again, when I was asking earlier for questions, we're asking about advice for if they're having quite a bad breakout at the moment, whether that be due to stress, eating a lot of sugary stuff, drinking more, and what would be your tips for them to try and manage the breakout?
So it would need to be, so it's very individual, because breakouts, there's not just one answer. I think in today, a lot of it is down to stress, because sleeping patterns have changed, eating's changed, people are drinking more, let's be honest, people are going to the alcohol more, I know I am. You know, so there's that factor in there as well, but then equally that they're reaching for things that are probably not suited for their skin either. So my most important thing, what I say to my clients, is making sure that their cleanser is correct. If their cleanser isn't correct, they're not going to get anywhere. So if they're using like a stripping foaming face wash that's got like your sodium lauryl sulfates and things like that in, that might be too harsh for them. They might need something more gentle, because there's a bit of a kind of misconception that when you have breakouts or spots, you've got to strip it. It's oily, strip it. And actually, you might be taking too much away, and that's causing the spots. So you need to kind of repair it a little bit more. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but I would say as a general rule of thumb, salicylic acid is quite good for your breakouts because it's going to go into the follicle to exfoliate. But I wouldn't just go and reach for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Sorry. Can I ask something? So one of the things, so I've had like hormonal skin all through, probably from my late teens to like early 20s. It's gradually got a bit better. But I think it's because I've got PCOS. So I get like time of the month, it's all here. Yeah. But I've noticed I kept like a skin diary for ages of what I was eating and things like that. And I was convinced that dairy made mine worse. But then when I've spoke to like skin experts and when we went to the workshop, Claire, they were saying that that's not the case and dairy doesn't actually do that. And I just wondered, like, it definitely feels like it does to me, just because every time because I don't have it anymore because it upsets my tummy, so I know I am intolerant to it. But when I sneak a bit, have a little bit of chocolate or something, then about 2-3 days later I have a big breakout, and I'm just wondering why. Is it the hormones in it, or is it
exactly that? So it's the hormones and also sugars that's in dairy. So there are actually links to acne and dairy as well, so there is truth in that. But yes, there are people that will turn around and say, oh, it's got nothing to do with it, but yeah, fact it will.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Robin wanted to say permission.
For hormonal acne, there's I don't know if you've ever heard of it. There's a supplement range called Advanced Nutrition Program, and they've got one called Acumax, which is vitamin A and DIM, and it's amazing for hormonal acne. So it might be worth looking into that.
Oh, yeah, I want that. That sounds great.
Yeah,
it's mad, isn't it? Because we spend so much money like on our hair and makeup and clothes, yet actually skin, and I'm guilty of this as well, I'll just kind of like throw on whatever products I've got, and I have breakouts, like hormonal breakouts, and actually I'll probably then spend money on something else that someone else recommends, or rather than actually sitting down. And I know Katie actually sent me a lot of the Illumia stuff, and actually it made a massive difference and it was amazing. But then I ran out of that and then started using something else I had.
I think a lot of people do that as well, because I think, so as a skin therapist, we're sort of looking at the lower levels, but obviously you as consumers are looking on the surface. So how can I explain it? So if you're not kind of seeing what's happening underneath and you're just seeing on the surface, it's quite easy to chop and change, because it's very quick to go, oh, it was okay, didn't really see much difference. And then you'll go to the next thing. But actually, we're working lower down to support underneath.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's once you've got something that's customized and prescriptive to you, and you're working alongside a professional, it's kind of, I guess, like coming to you guys for fitness. You know, it's a long program. You're not going to get a result just like that. And it's exactly the same with skin, and I presume it is with hair also. You've got years. It seems like it's people abusing.
Sorry, I was going to say it seems like there's common thread, like with everyone, that it's individual, isn't it? It's like when people say, what's the best exercise for this? I'm like, oh, like I need to know everything about you first. So it just seems with the hair and the skin as well.
Yeah, definitely.
The best thing I would say is not, it's great if there's a product working for somebody else, but that might be great for them. The same with skin and hair, because actually skin and hair are actually so similar, it's untrue. So we have a product that's called Nioxin, and it's fabulous for the skin follicle and for the hair follicle in the scalp. But for people like me, I suffer really badly with eczema, really badly. You wouldn't think it, because I do look after it, but the minute that I get poorly, the minute that I'm hormonal, everything comes out. My eczema comes out, my skin flares up, everything, all up the back of my neck. And for people like that suffer really badly with their scalp, Nioxin's supposed to be good. For me, it makes me even worse. So again, it is all about you as a person. It's about how your skin reacts to things. It's about how your hair reacts to things. Consultation is the best thing that you could ever go and have done, even if you don't pay for it and you just go for a consultation. I'm happy to have people come to me for consultations, even if it's just to figure out what's the best thing to put on the hair instead of even colouring it.
Yeah. And what about makeup then? That was another thing that people asked about. YouTube is a minefield for finding things. So a lot of our followers were saying they've been going for tutorials, but that some of them are just like really over the top, or more like film, TV makeup, just for learning basic techniques of makeup application and simple contouring, eyeshadow and things. Where are the best places for them to look if they want to learn something?
For me, I would go to, a makeup artist, just like you go to a hair specialist or a skin specialist for their field. I'd definitely go to a makeup artist. And actually there's loads on, Instagram and things that you could contact. I'm sure they'd be happy to do individual consultations and tutorials now.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's the thing with things at the moment, isn't it? Everything's available online, and it's just
literally everything.
I know, and it's amazing, isn't it? Because it's definitely going to change the way that we work and that everyone works. Because it's proof that we can function like this, and actually, in some cases, it's working better, isn't it? But I think there are so many accounts out there, and I think, like Katie said, it is worth reaching out to some makeup artists. You can scroll through Instagram. There's a million different people. Me and Ella both use an amazing makeup artist that Ella put me on to. I'm sure she'd be happy to chat. We can link her in. But I think it's just a case of having a little look out there, isn't it? And seeing what people are doing, and not being, I think maybe avoid YouTube a little bit, because I think YouTube is such, like I say, it is a minefield, and there's a lot of the kind of like Instagram looks on there, and they're almost a bit too daunting or too overwhelming, or too kind of full on for those people, like you say, Claire, that would just want to learn how to apply foundation, like literally stripping it back to the basics. I think Bobbi Brown's really good for that. I know she does amazing manuals for applying makeup. So whether there's something online at the moment with Bobbi Brown, that's one that I've always used in the past when doing my makeup.
Amazing as well, because she's very
Charlotte Tilbury, did you say?
Yeah, she's very natural. And she does them herself, which is even better. Like, she's the owner of the company, so you'd much prefer her doing it than somebody that works for Charlotte Tilbury, and she shows you with all of her products. So she's more like natural wedding day glam than something that, nighttime, like you're saying. Half of them are dead harsh on YouTube, and that's not what people want.
I think my 10-year-old daughter could apply it better on me than I could.
I just feel like I need someone to tell me what all the brushes and stuff for. I feel like I make, again, like the hair thing, I must be a makeup artist's worst nightmare, because when I've had it done a few times, like I've only had it done probably with Claire a couple of times, and I'm like, oh my gosh, didn't know I had so many different brushes for different things. Yeah. And I'm one of them that puts it on foundation on with my fingers, and then they're like, no, don't do that. But I don't know where to start. And then I always feel embarrassed going to the when you go and see them in the shop. I just feel it's just stupid, because they're like, they keep looking at me going, and I'm like, oh gosh, what? Yeah. I didn't realise. I just want like a basic, to know what the basic brushes I need and which one does what. And because, like you say, Claire, some of them, they're like pulling out all these different brushes, all these different things. And I'm just like, oh God, I don't know where to start.
Well, I'll have a chat with my my makeup artist who does Sarah's and mine's, and I'll see maybe if she's interested in even doing just one-on-ones or a live of how to do just a natural makeup look, and then it means at least it's a lot easier for people to...
Yeah, if she could do a live tutorial, that would be amazing. Yeah, just like an actual day makeup, that'd be fantastic, and then we can go into that.
Yeah,
amazing. Have you all been wearing makeup day to day, or what have you been kind of doing? What's everyone's been go-to?
I wear mascara because I feel naked without mascara on. So nearly every day I put a little bit of mascara on, and that's about it. If I haven't got mascara on, I look like a Dementor of Harry Potter.
Mine, sometimes just put a bit of foundation on, just because if my skin's bad and I'm seeing like clients online, I'll put a bit of foundation on and a little bit of bronzer, but not mascara usually.
Would you do that if you weren't seeing clients?
Probably not. And it depends. Just putting a bit, just doing my hair today though, and putting a bit of foundation and bronzer and putting a little lipstick on, I feel better, so I probably should. You feel like more yourself, don't you? I feel like I've not started the day when I've not done anything.
I've got roots down to about here. I've got red hair, so I have that L'Oreal spray. It's amazing.
It is good.
Get it on in the morning.